Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the 5 types of self-discipline as explained in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And they literally explain how a yoga sadhak can discipline himself or herself before beginning their practice of yoga. And as we've discussed in most of our previous videos, yoga is quite a spiritual practice. So even before you start your asanas or your pranayamas, you do need to make yourself familiar with these practices of self-discipline so that you can actually practice the asanas to your best capacity. Now, the first type of principle in this self-discipline category is known as Saucha, which basically translates into cleanliness. Now, cleanliness, what we usually think of it is at a physical level, and we think cleanliness just means keeping your body clean, making sure that there is no disease or impurity in your body. But Saucha as a concept asks you to rise even above that, and it thinks of Saucha or cleanliness as a mental state of being. So when you try to be clean mentally and spiritually, what that means is you're allowing the spiritual essence or the divinity within you to flow through you completely, and you're not creating obstacles for it. Now, one example of an obstacle would be the ego. So if you have a very egoistic mindset and you're constantly pushing that down upon the spiritual consciousness inside you, then it gets very difficult for that spiritual essence to speak to you. So trying to make sure that you're not constantly imposing your ideas on your spiritual self is really important on the path of yoga, and that's what we consider to be spiritual cleanliness. Another very important quote that is often associated with this concept is known as treating your body like a temple in which the divine resides and allowing the divine to do what it must with the temple that it's residing within. So that is known as the concept of Saucha. Now the second one is the concept of Santosh. Now if you're a Hindi speaker, you'll know that Santosh is a word that we commonly use. It refers to contentment. And with Santosh, we usually think it just means equanimity or equilibrium. But again, it's so much more than that. So the minute you have a sense of equanimity or contentment, you're able to then move forward without any annoyance or irritation, because you're content with where you're at, even though you know that you have more ways in which you can grow. You're okay with the space you're in right now. And that's extremely important because yoga theory believes that unless you have a strong, calm foundation, it would be very difficult to constantly move forward on your path. So Santosh encourages you to just be okay with where you are right now and accept who you are and where you are at the present moment, and still make process and take more steps to rise above that. So that's the concept of Santosh. Now we come to the third one, which is known as Tapas. Now tapas is not a very commonly used word in the Hindi language, but it refers to being in a state of tapasya, or somebody that takes a lot of pain in their practice. So tapas means to allow yourself to be heated up by the flame of your practice and allow that to sort of mold you into something perfect. So when you do tapasya or you practice something fully intently, what that's doing to you is that's taking you one step closer to a state of mastery. So yogis encourage the concept of tapasya because they believe that unless you're fully committed to your practice or your art form and you're willing to undergo that pain of mastery, you will not actually reach or rise further. So it's so important to commit and to be okay with the pain of your practice to then move forward on your spiritual journey. So tapasya is a very important concept to keep in mind. Now coming to the fourth one, we have something known as Svadhyaya. Now Svadhyaya is referred to as self-knowledge, but Svadhyaya is not only based on literature and textbooks. Usually we think of learning self-knowledge from books or taking it from somewhere else externally, but this yogic principle really encourages you to take Svadhyaya from within you. So the more you look inwards, the more you focus on what is it that I can learn about myself from within myself, the more you focus on that, the greater will be your understanding of who you are. And yoga theory also believes that each individual is different, has different strengths and weaknesses, has different internal capacities. So no size fits all, and you need to figure out what works for you. So yoga encourages you to, even before you start your asanas, understand who it is that you are, what it is that you're here for, and constantly be in that process of self-analysis. So that is point number 4, Svadhyaya. And now we come to the fifth one, which is known as Ishwar Pranidhan. Now, Ishwar Pranidhan refers to surrender to your creator. I know this can be a point of content because we have people follow different religions, so it can be anything that you believe in or any higher power that you believe, whether you call it the universe, you call it God, you refer to it as a specific Bhagwan, whatever you call it. Allowing yourself to surrender to the will of the Creator is the meaning of this last point. So what it's trying to tell you is that even if you do not understand the process sometimes, or you don't understand why you're going through the things that you're going through, you have to have this understanding of whatever is happening for the best, because the Creator is making those things happen. So the minute you really accept this concept at a very intrinsic level and make it your own, you will be able to move through life in a very peaceful way, because you believe that everything that's happening is happening for the betterment anyway. So this is a really important point to keep in mind. It refers to Ishwar Pranidhan. Ishwar refers to God or the Creator, and Pranidhan means complete surrender or complete devotion. So these are the 5 categories of self-discipline, also known as the yamas. And what you need to keep in mind with these are that you need to be able to actually apply them to your life before you start moving into practicing your asanas and your pranayamas. So I hope this has helped you to understand exactly what self-discipline means in yogic terminology, and that you're able to apply it to your own life as well. Now, if you found this video helpful and you think it has been able to add value to your life, please do consider subscribing to our channel and or share this video with your friends and family, so they too can understand the essence of self-discipline and you can make this practice your own. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.